Big Silz, National Football Show. Happy Monday to you. What a time of year, man. Christmas week, right? Cowboy week. You get a win. I think you're going to be surprised the angle I'm going here. I think you'll be surprised today. Eagles get a hard-fought win on the road in Chicago in December. Okay? I do believe, before we even get going more, it's a dead heat for the MVP award. Hurts, I would lean to. Mahomes and Burrow are your three dogs coming down the backstretch. Jalen has got an enormous opportunity on Saturday night to close the door on it, I believe. Has a great chance. I want to show you something, though. So let me get this right. The Cowboys lose to an up-and-coming Jags team. By the way, Trevor Lawrence is playing like the Trevor Lawrence we thought. He is a franchise quarterback. But you lose to Jacksonville like that, and you're still favored on Christmas Eve over the Eagles. There is absolutely no respect for your record. There's respect for your team, but there is not respect for your record. Because when you look at it and you look at the defenses that team has played all year, they've been garbage. And by the way, for the record, don't start patting people on the back over that Chicago game. The Bears have the 31st worst defense in the NFL. They had nobody on the field. I'm surprised the Bears had any players left. So many guys left. Now, again, the Eagles took care of business. I'm going to get to it again. Now, I'm also going to say something else about Justin Fields before we get into Jalen Hurts and how the team played and my takeaways, okay? I'm going to say this to you. He has gotten better. Justin Fields has gotten better. And if that kid can figure it out in the passing game and the Bears can help him out in the passing game, that kid could be a force. He was impressive. And something else. So a quarterback, and everyone's raving over it, got 1,000 yards. Michael Vick and Lamar. Gee, two guys who ended up their careers not being able to finish seasons. Not being able to finish seasons. Oh, and by the way, Jalen Hurts is 44 carries away from 200 carries this year. That coaching staff is going to get that kid killed. He's going to end up exactly like Lamar. They're going to get him killed on the field. Those hits that he took, Chicago was coming for him. And by the way, is that how you want your quarterback going into the postseason with 17 to 20 carries going into the exhibition season? All beat the hell? Not me. I want him fresher. How can he be fresh going in to the postseason, carrying the ball 17 times? This guy's going to have over 200 freaking carries. That's feature back shit. I tell you the same thing about the guy in Buffalo. They need to figure that shit out or he's not going to finish years. This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. I'm going to get to Hurts and his play on Sunday. By the way, those interceptions, Chicago, cold weather, December, some days you have a couple picks. I'm not sweating that shit. I'm not sweating that shit. The coaching staff sucked on offense on Sunday. You got Miles Sanders, a 1,200-yard back, and you keep him in the garage until the second half? Why? What is the absolute point in running your quarterback to get your quarterback killed? What is the point of that? You won. Absolutely. We're going to get to the numbers. Personally, I think the coaches, I think they sucked, and I think the players, they won in spite of shitty coaching on offense. Terrible. Awful situational play calling. That was the worst offensive play calling for Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni the entire freaking year. How many times did you see that guy land on Hurts on his shoulder? My God almighty, do you know what I said right there? Please don't let that be a separated shoulder. Guy gets up. I mean, I'm surprised in one of those hits, the NFL officials didn't have him go check for concussion protocol. That's on the coach. Bro, Chicago, right before the Cowboy game, you run that guy into the dirt. What a shitty game of coaching. Terrible, terrible, terrible coaching by Shane Steichen. See, here's what you'll get here. Truth and being objective. Here's my takeaways. By the way, look at this. Look at the takeaways. Justin Fields is clearly getting better. By the way, 25-20, closer than you wanted. I said if the Bears were going to try to win this game, they had to make it a fourth quarter game, and they did. I'm surprised the Bears, as I said, finished the game with players. Josh Sweat is picking his game up. He is picking his game up. 8.5 sacks. Good for you, dude. He is, at the beginning of the year, I did not believe that he was a 3-down D lineman. He's picked his game up. Kudos. 8.5. A chance for you to have double-digit sacks. Kudos. By the way, Jonathan Gannon. I saw some games with Tracy Rocker in there. You guys were calling him. It was very confusing to a very inexperienced Chicago Bears O-line. Once the experienced guard went out, they started running games. I thought it was great. That's what you do. An experience, run experienced football plays at them. Devonta Smith, I could be wrong on this. I'll get to the numbers here too. He's 99 yards away from 1,000. Good for him. Hey, by the way, pats on the back for 1,000 yards. You're a first rounder, son. We're giving you kudos for doing something that is expected for a first rounder. Congratulations. You're going to get to 1K. Well, that's why we drafted you, isn't it? Hassan Reddick, the last 8 games, has been better than Micah Parsons. He's been better than Micah Parsons in pass rushing. Micah Parsons has been the invisible man the last couple weeks. And it showed up again. You know how many attempts the Cowboys have faced in the last 2 weeks? 738. They got 1 sack. He's the defensive player of the year. And the Jacks put up 500 total yards on him. Give me a break, guy. You're comparing to Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor on a bad day would have 2 sacks and 10 tackles. And it would be a 21-19 game. That guy he's not Pat Swilling. He's not Pat Swilling. I'll tell you, I'll give you this. In the last 3 weeks, since they had a come to Jesus conversation, the special teams on the Eagles have been kind of flipping the field on teams. Outside of that block punt last week, I thought that the special teams, since that coming to Jesus conversation, I think they've picked it up. I think they look better. By the way, having Boston Scott back here, remember what I told you? Start putting some of your frontline guys back there, and it's panning and playing out. Jalen Hurts' play. I thought the kid was great. I don't care about the 2 picks. I think the kid was great. in a shitty play calling game, in a shitty situational play calling game, the coaches get an F. Jalen gets an A. 300 yards. I hated the 17 carries. The only thing that I hated about Jalen Hurts on Sunday was the 17 freaking carries. Why? Dude, I can get if you had a back with 400 yards, he dropped the ball, he was like Melvin Gordon, and he sucked out loud. You got a back who's averaging 5.2 yards a carry, and you keep him in the barn? Why? Because you know why? You're relying too much on that kid. You're going to get Jalen Hurts killed. Terrible. 17 freaking carries. That coordinator should be locked up. How many times were you holding your breath when Hurts went down? You're this close to greatness. Why would you endanger that? Holy cow. I kept screaming at the television, where's Sanders? Where's Sanders? I think it really has to do with business decisions being made upstairs, and they don't want Sanders to have the numbers that he's going to end up with. I really believe that in my heart because, get this, you can't give me a reasonable explanation that I'm going to go out there and fucking run my quarterback into the dirt before the Cowboy game. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Dude, if you're the general manager, don't you go to your coach? Or is the general going to the coach? Don't play Sanders. Telling you. Hey, Arthur, keep putting 13-1 up. Nobody in Vegas or Atlantic City cares about it. Cowboys are favored. Cowboys are favored. Your 13-1 record don't mean shit this week. The people who put the money on the game don't think you're going to beat them and don't think you're better than Dallas. And Dallas just lost. I can't think of anything more disrespectful. Eagles show up every week, man. They may not play their best ball, but they win. The Cowboys lay an egg. I don't get that whole it makes absolutely no sense. Unless Howie is absolutely playing incentive game with the player. Makes no sense. By the numbers. Scoreboard is the worst number here. 25-20. It's easily the worst number. It's okay, though. Total yards. Eagles, 421 to 243. The defense was sensational on Sunday. Passing, 309 to 86. That's with the sacks. Fields had 152, but when it comes to total team stats, the sacks take away from the passing yards. Rushing, Bears, not expectedly, would have more because of Fields, 157 to 112. First downs were relatively close, 20-15, favor the Eagles. Here's where you won the game. Total plays, 71 for Philly, 58 for the Bears. Turnovers. Here's what kept the Bears in the game, 3. Passing, Hurts, in the cold, in Chicago, and throwing the wide receivers on Sunday, I thought they were Willie Mays catching over-the-shoulder catches. There is no doubt. I tell you, I was probably more impressed with Jalen Hurts passing in that Chicago game than any game this year because of the weather, because of the situational shitty play calling, and because he was banged up. Very tough ball game. Both players played tough, Fields and Hurts. And one thing about both these players, Justin Fields is going to be more like, I'm going to get to all your takes, guys, I promise. To me, and you tell me if this comparison is fair. I think more so Fields is going to be more like Michael Vick. And I think Hurts is going to be more like Russell Wilson, early Russell Wilson, when he was winning NFC championships and they were winning with Marshawn Lynch. People forget one of the reasons that Seattle team with Russell Wilson was so effective. Marshawn Lynch was a beast. Kept that team in third and short the whole time. So those guys are going to be kind of more comparable. Sanders, 11 carries, 42 yards. Holy shit. How terrible is that? A.J. Brown, 9 catches, 181. Boy, I'll tell you, we're going to look at the guys by the numbers too. Hey, Gary Cobb will be with us in hour number 2 at 4:30. Tomorrow at 3:30, Fox's Jimmy Johnson will join us to preview Cowboys and Eagles. Then on Wednesday, Michael Irvin will join us at 4:30 for a couple minutes. So those are your next 3 days lined up for you. By the way, the shitty offensive coaches need to find a better way to get Quez Watkins the ball. I mean, until Dallas Goedert gets there, I'm sure Dallas Goedert will be back for this Cowboy game. What a bunch of shit, man. It's not sustainable. It's why you don't pay Hurts. If the coaches are going to run Hurts like that, I would never give that guy $50 million because he'll be hurt like Lamar, like Cam couldn't finish years, like Vic and every other guy. And by the way, the guy in Buffalo is not excluded from that. I know some of you want to make this conversation into some other stupid shit conversation. That guy in Buffalo won't last either. Hurts, 4,000 passing yards is 520 yards away. 4 to play. He's 8 away from 30. He's 253 away from 1,000. I don't want him to get 1,000 yards rushing. How does that help the Eagles? How does that is the most meaningless stat on the planet. And I'm going to show you why. Watch this, Xander. So, congratulations, Justin Fields. You're the third back to have 1,000 yards or a quarterback to get 1,000 yards rushing. Where were you at the end of the game when your team needed you? Oh, you were in the tent and then in the locker room. Where was Lamar Jackson this weekend when his team needed him versus the Browns? Oh, he's on IR. Congratulations to you. You guys have 1,000-yard running quarterbacks that can't finish the year. How's that help your franchise? How did Justin Fields getting that 1,000 yards help his franchise when you've beat his ass up? How's that helping him? How's that helping him grow when he's hurt finishing the season? It's absurd. Congratulations. The Bears should be ashamed he got 1,000 yards. I mean, Jalen Hurts is going to have 200 carries. The Eagles should be ashamed of that number. He's carrying the ball more this year than he did a year ago. It's not sustainable. Miles Sanders is 190 yards away from 1,300 yards. And you didn't play that dude until the second half, theoretically. How stupid is that? You can't be any dumber, man. That was the worst play calling all year for the Eagles on offense. Yeah, somebody's going, Lamar's declining. Why is that? Because he's running the ball too much. It'll happen to Hurts. Dude, you think Jalen Hurts is a healthy guy today after that Chicago? Chicago. They beat him up in Chicago. You had to have your quarterback carry the ball 17 times. Danny threw for 300 yards. Right. 300 yards and then got his head kicked in the rest when he was running the ball. Congratulations against the shitty Bears. Did you really need him to play that hard against the shitty Bears? Ask yourself that. How dumb. A.J. Brown is 199 away from 1,400. If he does that, he'll have a TO04 year. And Devonta, as we said, is 99 yards away from 1K. I think he does end up with it. But again, watch this. I said he wouldn't. If he does, great. I guess. You are a first rounder. You're not Quez Watkins. I mean, expectations for first rounders are 1,000 yards? Jesus Christ. I said he wouldn't because I didn't think they were the ball. That's just fit 100 yards in 32 games. I guess. Kind of. Why in the world are you running your quarterback in the shitty Bears game? In the shitty Bears game. Silz, are you saying that the win? No. I don't care. 25-20, get the win, dude. Get out of town. Get in Dallas week. I'm not that guy. The Bears hurt that kid. The Bears hurt that kid. You said we wouldn't have two 1,000-yard receivers. Congratulations to you, Joseph. I sure hope it pans out for a Super Bowl for you. Because all those stats won't mean dick if they don't win it. Hey, Dan Sileo consistently wrong all year. Hey, Steve, you're welcome. And that's the reason you're 13-1. Yeah, because I thought everybody at the beginning of the year said the Eagles would lose one game this year. Yeah, Steve. Why don't you pick us all some lottery tickets or Powerball numbers, and we'll all go home. What a tool. Topics. Hurts is getting worn down. I want to see what this kid looks like in the postseason. Just like Vic, just like Lamar. But Silz, he squats 600 pounds. Yeah? Well, that Bears team put a butt kicking on him. Jalen Hurts left that game banged up. Jordan Mailata telling the kid, hey, stay down. He's like, no, get me up. I'm telling you, man, they put a beating on him. And if I'm a D coordinator, you know what I'm going to do to Jalen Hurts? I'm going to put a hat on that guy every time I can now. Because I don't believe that a quarterback can take 200 carries. I don't believe it. You got a freaking running back. Save your quarterback for the postseason, even if it costs you a game. Now, I'm not saying and suggesting here that you lose a game to lose home field advantage. I'm not suggesting that. But after the Dallas game, are you going to continue to run Jalen Hurts in a shitty Bears game 17 times? I'll tell you this too, dude. If that was the Dallas game and Hurts ran the ball 17 times, you know what I would say? Okay, I get it. You know, you want to beat Dallas up? Okay. The only thing for me would be, hey, I get it. It's Dallas. But, dude, the Giants against the Saints. Saints are still in it. Okay? Play Minshew, man. Shit, man. Once I get home field wrapped up, play a couple series, put Jalen's ass on the bench. That's why I'm going to push all my chips in against the Cowboys to close this thing up. Let me tell you what the worst thing was for the Eagles on the weekend was that comeback by the Vikings. Because it would have pretty much assured them that they would have home field. But now you got to kind of still play. That thing that they did, that comeback, that kept Jalen Hurts in the game till the end of the year. Good. So I'm watching the Bears game, and I'm doing this. Wait a minute. You're going to beat this quarterback up, and you're getting ready for one Cowboy week, and then on top of that, you're going to put 200 carries on this kid? Look, I'll tell you, and I'll say this to you, all kidding aside and all. Jalen Hurts, I do agree. They ran him way too much in that Bears game. He won't hold up. And Tone, here's what I'm going to agree with. Jalen Hurts has not. Look at this, man. The numbers he's putting up. Hey, I'm gonna make a promise to you. Hurts plays great Christmas Eve. And here's my MVP right now. My vote for my MVP, Hurts, Mahomes, and Burrow. Those three dudes. And I think it's a tie. Silz, Mahomes struggled versus the Texans. Well, they also did win their 7th AFC West title. And if the Eagles are allowed a shitball game against the 31st ranked defense in the NFL, so are the Chiefs. So are the Chiefs. And they don't have a running game. It's those three. But if Hurts puts up a 300-yard game and Jalen throws for 4 touchdowns against Dallas, he's going to win the MVP. I've talked to numerous people. He will. He'll win. He'll get my vote. He'll get my vote. That dude in Dallas is holding the Cowboys back, not pushing them forward. That's a bigger game for Dak on Saturday night than Jalen. Jalen's done it all year. Dak hasn't. Dak Prescott holds the Cowboys back. He holds them back. You paid $45 million and overpaid for a guy who won't deliver you anything more than Kirk Cousins will. Dak Prescott is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins throws for 460 against the 5-8 Colts. Dak and Cousins have won nothing. Hey, and I told you this. The only thing, hey, and you know what? I'm going to probably have to amend this now, aren't I? I said that the Cowboys had better edge rushers than you guys. I'm not so sure of that anymore. As a matter of fact, production-wise, the Cowboys are not. Reddick and Sweat. Hey, here's something else to give Howie a lot of love. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave have picked their game up so much so, I didn't realize that Fletcher had 6 sacks. Fletcher Cox has picked his game up since Sue and Joseph have been added. We said that dynamic may happen. It's happened. The interior of the D-line has got, defending a dude like Justin Fields is almost and virtually impossible. He's going to break tackles like I mean, Matt Ryan gets hit like that, he's going down like a powder keg. And seriously, I used to think the only advantage that the Cowboys had on the Eagles were their edge rushers. I don't believe that anymore. I do not, but they have 1 sack in the last 790 attempts. I don't see it. I think the Eagles go into that game on Saturday night with the best defense of the two teams. They're the better defense. They're the better O-line. Their quarterback is playing superior. Their running game, well, when used, is superior. Makes no sense, though. Why? Explain it to me. Explain to me here. What in the right minds of the offensive coaches when they were drawing up the game plan? Did they think it was in the best interest to run Jalen Hurts like that against a 3-win team? Unless you don't trust the rest of your players. Or you don't trust Sanders, or you're playing politics with him. Now, Jalen trusts his – this is not on Hurts. This conversation has nothing to do with Hurts. This is a conversation on front office meddling. What brilliant strategist was there all week going, well, do you know this game should have been over after 15 minutes? It should have been over. Instead, they're throwing the ball. And watch this. The throws are the dumbest thing. I blame the picks not on Jalen. I blame the picks on the coaches. Why? They are the second worst rush defensive football team in the league. You have a back that's averaging 5.2 carries a game and not your quarterback. Why did you keep the Bears in it? And when Sirianni was asked the question, he skated around it. Jalen, you know what Jalen did? Can I tell you what I think Jalen Hurts does in the middle of the game? I think he overrides some of those shitty calls on the sidelines. And he takes off. I just think he overrides it. And that's why those carries are up like that. I think he overrides some of the shitty play calling that they've had all year long. That's why he's carrying the ball more this year than he did a year ago. You know, Shane Steichen's getting a lot of love. Why would he get a lot of love? Guys, is it a great accomplishment that Justin Fields got 1,000 yards? Sure. Does it help him? No. Not when you're in the injury tent. Not when you can't play like Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Lamar can't finish seasons any longer. His gamble of $250 million that he put back in the Ravens' lap has failed. Well, he's 1,000-yard run. And all three of those guys ended up shelling themselves. Cam Newton couldn't raise his arms at the end of his career. Is that what you want for Hurts? Silz, he's different. He scored 6. Okay. You're defying logic. Daffy goes, the Eagles were testing new schemes. What's that? Run the quarterback into the ground scheme? Now, here's something else. Michael, it's an observation that I took away from that game. Hey, by the way, what's the coolest thing about the Eagle win? Hey, dude, they kind of limped around for a little bit. Stupid stuff kept the Bears in it. Because anywhere you look in the stat sheet, the Bears didn't put up. Hey, Fields kept him in it, and the turnovers did too. So you're going to throw the ball in Chicago in December in 20-degree weather when you know there's going to be picks. I swear to you, man, I dissed Jalen on the picks. I don't care, man. He threw for 300 yards, threw the ball over shoulders, and he had some great throws. That was on the coaches. They were awful. The first drive was back-to-back Hurts runs. Dude, Jesse, against the Bears, who you know are going to take shots at him. Do you know that was the Bears' Super Bowl? Every team. Oh, and by the way, you don't think Mickey Loomis is going to turn that game against the Eagles into a grudge match after what happened with that first-round pick? Especially if the Saints are still in it because the Bucs are shit in the bed. They're in the NFC South race. They're going to come for Jalen. That's the home of Bountygate. Dumb. What's wrong with? Hey, is Sanders? Oh, we want to. So you rather save Sanders for the postseason than your quarterback? Hey, I love Miles Sanders, and I think Miles Sanders has had a spectacular season. I do. I think he had a spectacular season. Okay, I do. You don't use him? You don't use Miles Sanders. I don't know what you're talking about, Dallas. T-Car, I told you for 2 weeks, I don't see the Cowboys beating you Christmas Eve. I'll do that on a Monday. I don't see it. Vegas thinks it. You got the wrong dude if you think I'm picking Dallas here. You got the wrong dude. You know why? What are we always counting on during the Christmas time? Santa squeezing his fat ass down a chimney, the Cowboys nuclear melting down. You know what the Cowboy name should be? The Dallas Chernobyls. The Dallas Chernobyls. Seriously, they have a nuclear disaster every December. The Dallas Chernobyls. Cowboys. December football? When? 30 years ago? Dallas not only gave up 40 points, Vlad, they gave up 500 yards in offense. 500 yards. And the edge rushers have not gotten home. By the way, Trevor Lawrence looks spectacular. Way to go, Doug. Hey, Xander, I missed the super chat. Can you please tell me? And post the super chat here, man. I want to. Horrible game plan on Sunday. Got Hurts beat up. Vernon, absolutely, man. Why? Vernon, I'm gonna say this because you know what? I love teasing people on Twitter. You know why? Because you're easy on Twitter. Here's the reality. Jalen has improved so much. It's a pleasure to watch a guy. Hey, I would never wish Hurts not to succeed. I made a prediction, and we'll find out. We're 4 games away if I'm right or wrong. Isn't it great? I'd rather be wrong than cover a guy like Zach Wilson. Who in their right mind wants to cover Carson Wentz? You guys don't get it. Who wants to cover Gardner Minshew? Who wants to cover that Denver game? Hey, that Denver game? Who were the quarterbacks in it? I never heard of them. 3 games left. Thank you, Ron. The Dallas Chernobyls. Remember that. I'm going to say this to you, Eric. I think Jalen Hurts, if I'm the Eagles, this Cowboy game is his last big effort game. And if that stops him from getting to 4,000 yards, I don't give a shit. He puts up 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys. He gets my MVP vote, whether he has $4,000 or not. Because he'd have knocked down every single season goal that he put out there. Sweet boys, win the East, home field. That's who Jalen Hurts is. It's wonderful. You should be very proud of watching this kid. Now, you know about protecting him. And how you played him against the Bears is sinful. It's sinful. 31st worst rush defense in the NFL, and you're throwing it? Those interceptions are not on Jalen Hurts. But he played great. I thought Hurts played great. 300 yards. Well, what the numbers again? 61 rushing, 315 yards, touchdowns. Here's something else on why Jalen Hurts won't last and why I've been against paying him. So I heard a stat. Jalen Hurts has more rushing touches than any running back in the last 2-year league. Is that good or bad? Is that good or bad, you think? Ask yourself that. Is that good or bad? You think a quarterback with the most carries and touchdowns running is a good thing? Won't last. Absolutely won't. Hey, by the way, Silz, doesn't it show his athleticism and his ability to win? Yeah, it does. He is a carry away from a knee injury against the Bears. How about a Jalen Hurts gets hurt in a 3-win game for the Cowboys? As you said times. Sean, there is no future. Show me future with guys who carry the ball times from the quarterback position. Lamar can't finish year. Kyler Murray's done till next October. And you think this guy is going to be different than the rest of them. Your mind. The question